Hey folks, Jamie here. Thank you for tuning in. Before we get started, I would like for you to take a moment and go down below and hit the like and subscribe buttons. Maybe leave a comment. If you're really feeling generous, maybe share this video to your social media feeds. What that does is make it a lot easier for other people to find A Moment of Tiki. I really appreciate it and it helps out a lot. Thanks. Now, on with the show. Welcome to another episode of A Moment of Tiki, coming to you from the Lagoon of Mystery, my home tiki bar here in Central Texas. Now, I know a number of you are thinking, it's like, wait a minute, it's the middle of the month. It's only been 2 weeks since your last episode. What's going on? Well, it's still dry July. And even though the Kokoleka Wai Niu is a delicious cocktail, it can get old. And so I thought I am doing you, the viewer, a disservice by not offering a variety of cocktails to enjoy, or in this case, mocktails, because after all, I'm all about hospitality. Now, if you missed the last episode, go back and watch it now, but if not, here's the Cliff Notes version. I am of the strong opinion that any home or professional bar should be prepared to serve drinks to those guests we have who are not imbibing for whatever particular reason. Specifically with tiki, home tiki bars, professional tiki bars, just a Sprite with a maraschino cherry in it isn't going to cut it. Your guests want to have that immersion effect. They want to partake in the escapism. They want to feel transported that any regular off-the-shelf soft drink is not going to provide. So today I am going to share with you my home recipe for the Tambulu Fizz, which is a cocktail, drink, mocktail, drybation, whichever term you prefer. It is a beverage, non-alcoholic, that is very different from the creamy, rich, decadent Kokoleka. Now, one of the prime ingredients in here is tamarind syrup. Now, I know a lot of you may not be familiar with tamarind, so let's go make some syrup and come back here and see what we can do with it. Tamarinds are native to Asia, but are used in quite a bit of Latin cuisine grown throughout Central and South America. So tamarind pods, such as these, can be found at Latino Mexican groceries. Can also be found as blocks of paste, also at some Asian groceries and Indian groceries. The pod is easily cracked open, revealing the seeds inside. Now, the seeds are surrounded by this pulpy material, which is flavorful and pasty. So you want to remove the seeds, remove the shells, devein, pull these veins out, and collect the pulp with the seeds in it in a bowl. And for the amount of syrup I'm going to make, this 1 5-ounce packet of tamarind pods will suffice. That is 141 grams. Once we have all of the tamarind pieces shelled, it's time to start cooking on the stove. So we're going to do 2 cups of water. There are recipes online that call for like a quart, but I don't go near that much. Then we're going to add our shelled tamarinds. And the seeds are still in there. Don't worry, we'll sort those out later. And we are going to bring this to a boil. Once it comes to a full boil, we're going to lower it to simmer and then simmer for about 30 minutes. And that'll get the tamarind pulp nice and juicy and soft and pliable. Once the tamarind has finished simmering for half an hour, it's loose, it's falling apart, separating from the seeds, making a kind of a slurry. Some people would put it into a blender at this point to blend it to get the separation completely. If you're doing an agua fresca, I guess that would be pretty cool. I'm not really into that much work. So what we're going to do at this point is strain this mixture through this mesh strainer to separate the solids, the seeds, any remaining chunks of the shell, veins, anything that's not going to suspend very well in a syrup. Now it's pretty thick, so it doesn't, you can see it's not sluicing out. So we're going to use a spoon to press it through. And it's reduced quite a bit. We started with 2 cups, and what we're going to end up with is maybe half a cup. Right. Once we press most everything that's going to press through this mesh, take the spoon and just scrape the solids that made it through and have collected on the bottom, because we want to incorporate these and their flavor into the syrup. We have this tamarind slurry paste separated out. We need to find out how much it is so we can finish our syrup. So I am draining it all into a measuring cup, or at least as much as I can get. It's a concentrated paste. We have about half a cup. That's what I have predicted. With the half a cup, I'm going to pour back into the pot that we'd used previously. I rinsed it out in the interim. I'm going to add 2 cups of water to the mixing bowl so we can get as much of that remaining paste out as possible. Stir it here a little bit and pour it into the pot. I'm going to return the pot to the heat. Work to bring it to a boil. As I'm doing so, I'm going to add 2 cups of sugar, stirring in and make it as a syrup, just like any other. Now, one thing about tamarind syrup to keep in mind, it is not going to be a clear syrup. It is going to be opaque, and you will have particulates suspended in it. That's normal. It's the nature of the beast with tamarind. The final step, as it is with all of my syrups, is to add a tiny bit of potassium sorbate, which will prevent yeast from fermenting the sugars, and it'll help it keep a lot longer. Now, with the sugar fully dissolved, all we have to do is set it aside, let it cool, then bottle it. If you have extra, and this is more than 2 cups right here, it freezes really nicely, so you can use it in the future. Now, let's go make that mocktail. Now that we have our tamarind syrup made, it's time to start constructing our cocktail. Now, the base of the cocktail is this. This is rooibos tea. Rooibos is an herbal tea, which technically makes it not a tea, but a tisane, but we're not going to get hung up on the details. It's from South Africa, and it has a nice, rich red color. We're going to put 2 ounces of Rooibos in there. Now, Rooibos is an herbal tea that has neither caffeine nor tannins, so there's no bitterness to it. I like to make mine double or triple strength for this, so it has a pretty pungent backbone. And it's interesting because Rooibos doesn't taste like anything other than Rooibos. It's really distinctive. Some people hate it, some people love it. It's just very unusual, and that's one of the approaches that I wanted to take for this. It also has a type of almost mentholated texture to it. With it, it just has that effect on the tongue where there's something additional going on, and I think that works really well with the drybation mocktail that we're doing here. Next, I'm going to add 1/2 ounce of our tamarind syrup. Now, tamarind is tropical flavor. It is tart, puckerish, and I think that balances well with the Rooibos. 1 ounce of coconut water. Coconut water is fairly mild in flavor, but it brings a nice mouthfeel to the drink, and also subtle tropical notes of coconut. Kind of smooths everything out, blends things together. Now, of course, what would a balanced tropical cocktail be without lime juice? And so we are adding 1/2 ounce of lime juice here. This is going to up the sour component and also kind of give a boost to that tart tamarind. Now we have all of those primary ingredients. We're going to add ice and shake. Now remember, again, this is an alcohol-free cocktail. So when you shake it, the ice isn't going to dilute nearly as much as it would had we added alcohol, because alcohol has a melting effect on ice. Probably going to shake it a little bit longer to compensate a little bit, because we do want some dilution there. We want it to chill down really nice and good. Okay, so we have our concoction here. One last ingredient, ginger beer. We're adding 2 ounces of ginger beer, which is the fizz in the Tambulu Fizz. Now, I'm using Fever Tree. You can use Q mixers or Goslings or anything else you want, just as long as it's a ginger beer that you like, not ginger ale. Ginger ale is a little bit too mild for this, gets lost. The ginger has that sharp bite, plus with the carbonation and carbonic acid, has more action going on in your mouth for an entertaining mouthfeel. And I'm just pouring this in here. The Rooibos gives it a delightful reddish pink color, which is quite tropical. And now I'm going to top it off with more fresh crushed ice. Finish with the straw. And the garnish is a lime wedge with crystallized ginger on a pick. And there you have it, the Tambulu Fizz. Oh yeah, this is 100% alcohol-free, zero-proof, a drybation, a mocktail. It presents well, it looks good. Any of your guests getting this, they are going to be intrigued. The ginger, the tamarind, the Rooibos all kind of blend together into a what's the word I'm looking for? It's intriguing. It's none of the flavors, except maybe for the ginger, are readily identifiable. So the person who drinks this, they're gonna stop and say, wait, what are those flavors? They work together, they blend together. There's tartness. It's a bright combination. It kind of jumps out. It screams tropical. This isn't a deep winter warmer. It's light, it's frothy, it's fizzy. It's got the ginger bite. It's got that little menthol action coming from the rooibos. And tamarind is this obscure tropical fruit notes hiding in the background. It's slightly sweet, but not overly sweet. It's just a well-balanced cocktail. And I think anyone who would come to your home or professional tiki bar or something and order this, I think they would be intrigued and delighted by it, because this has got a lot going on. It teases the senses, and you never really stop to think once you begin to parse it and break down the different flavor components that there's no alcohol in this. Now I'm feeling a little bit of burn in the back of the throat. That's that rooibos menthol action, and some of that ginger too. So I'm really happy with this, and the guests that I've served it here in the Lagoon of Mystery have been happy with it too. So if you try this at home, let me know what you think. Let me know any types of variations that you invoke to customize it to your own palate. But until next time from the Lagoon of Mystery, aloha.